Welcome, welcome, welcome to our unpopular opinion. I am Stradivari Mr. B, and right now I have my Miss Marcella for our unpopular opinion. At
Mm-hmm.
this point in time, I just want to, let's see whatever you know of what I actually sent you today. I sent you a couple of different topics today. What was a topic that you actually looked upon and seen and kind of discussed in your head about?
Well, I'm well versed. I follow the news quite a bit. I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to look at what you sent me today, but you
Okay.
can just shoot away. Just shoot
Oh,
away.
okay, okay.
Okay, let's
Well,
talk.
I did send you about the Native Americans actually getting a bill signed by Joe Biden saying
Yeah.
that they would get $31 billion, pretty much like a reparations type of bill to them. What is your actual understanding and knowledge about the reparations amongst the indigenous people on the American soil?
Okay. Historically, I've been following the reparations, which is an attempt to repair a wrong. According to history, American history, they are the indigenous people. They call them Native Americans, and we know the story about the Native Americans. They've experienced racism and injustice also. I would say that just as they got the casinos, they also get the right to go to school for free in a lot of instances. These are ways that the United States government seek to repair a wrong that was done. They no longer have a land. So, what is my understanding of this particular attempt to repair the damage? I think like it's very difficult to put a price on something like that. I think it's a good start, though, Mr. B. I think it's a good start. I think they deserve it, and I think we as black people, native black people here in the United States, who are who those who are
But why do they deserve it though?
well, when you wrong somebody, like kill thousands of them, take their land, go back on treaties, um, subject them to all types of racism,
So you don't
you
feel as
should
though
try
that
to
they
repair it. You
don't
should
feel
try
as
to
though that
repair
they
it.
kind of helped them out during the slave trade of helping them capture the black people in the slave trade during that era. I'm not going to necessarily say that they weren't a part of that getting killed too, but technically we was amongst these people. We were amongst these indigenous people. So I'm trying to figure out how do they get all of the proceeds when we get nothing. I'm trying to figure this whole what is the difference between them and me, and I'm trying to get the whole narrative of even a state line at this point. Can you help me? You got to help me out with this economically. I I'm trying to figure out. So what do you actually do right now? Because that can tie into what knowledge of you knowing
Oh,
about
well,
how.
I studied when I was in college. The first time I learned about history, especially Black history, was in college because it really wasn't taught in the high schools. It was
Okay,
always taught from slavery and the injustice of Indians. You got the Trail of Tears and whatnot. I mean, it's been they've endured a lot, and I don't want to get into the argument of who suffered the most because how do you quantify that? I mean,
but why is one person getting all of the proceeds and the other one's not? So how could you even put them in a category then?
oh, well, I'm not blaming them for getting what they deserve any more than I'm blaming the Jews for getting what they deserve, any more than I'm blaming the Chinese people who were disrespected during I think it was the second Pearl Harbor, Second World War, right?
Uh huh.
Why if I had to ask the question, I would say that we may not be considered a protected class on that level or a respected class on that level. I'm not going to put it on the Indian culture and try to blame them for getting what they deserve. And I would say they deserve more, just like I don't even know how that you would. I kind of know it's a mathematical formula. I've read the book called The Black Tax, and it talks about the fact that there's 100% tax associated with slavery. You go ahead and they know by population, they can estimate how many slaves was here on this continent. So you figure out the amount of money that America made, all the riches, from everything that we did. And then you go ahead and add interest to it because there's an interest rate over the years. So there has been brilliant mathematical minds and historians that have calculated actually what we are owed. It's not so much, like the first step towards healing, of course, is an apology and acknowledgement. But the second step to healing, and I see Dee shaking her head, yes, the second portion of it is trying to make amends and also repair it. And we historically have been on the other hand of a lack of economic empowerment collectively. Now, I'm not going to say that it's not a whole lot of we do have a small portion of very wealthy people in our community. And there's been a lot of people that have suffered, but I think we have a special type of situation here, and the reason why we don't get the reparations that we deserve is that I don't think that we truly are a fully protected class or a respected class.
Now, is it just a culture or race? What is it? What is it about it?
What is it about? Go ahead. You mean what?
Why are we not actually benefiting from any of the proceeds that the government is dishing out? What is it? Are we too spread out? Is it too many of us?
No, I'm just going to quote Dr. Claude Anderson. Dr. Claude Anderson in his book says, and it's been many people that have said it. This is a quote. I don't know where it started, but the first time I've heard it was through Dr. Claude Anderson. Dr. Claude Anderson said, Black people have no rights that a white man has to, and I'm probably not even quoting it right, is obligated to respect. And that reigns true today.
So the Indians deserve this $31 billion.
And yes, they deserve it. I'm not going to say they don't. They probably deserve more. We are people that are disconnected from a country. Excuse me.
So why do they get stuff? I'm just trying to figure out how do we get zero, they get 31.
Okay, Hey, I like it. Okay, I like that, Mr. B. We are people that are misplaced, throughout the diaspora, throughout the globe, but we did navigate the globe. So there are many places we were when all of this started. However, with the terrible transformation and how everything changed, the narrative, like I said on another show, I don't want the narrative of who I am, where I came from, and what actually happened to come from somebody who don't appreciate me and who could quite frankly be a racist. And so I would say the difference between the indigenous American Indian, because there were Indians that looked just like you and I, and they were kicked out of the nation. Okay, but that's another story.
Okay.
They lost their country. We're misplaced from our country. It is like tomato.
This is our country, though.
Well,
this was our country before anybody else landed on it. We were already here before anybody else even arrived here.
I'm not going to argue that, but with the narrative that's going on today, Indians have a uniquely different issue, and it's been strides made to try to repair what's been done to them, along with many other cultures. We're just a disrespected and unprotected class, basically.
It just seems unfair with that. That seems very highly unfair, and I mean, Miss D, I actually sent some articles on your phone this time instead of sending videos. And the article was about how the indigenous people are getting from the government right now a $31 billion.
Yep, I read it.
Okay, and what is your take on that?
I mean, I agree wholeheartedly with Marcella. I mean, they're getting what they deserve, and it's time that we get what we deserve as well. Period. I mean, we just, colonizers owe indigenous people a lot, Colonizers owe a lot of people a lot of things in this country. It's time for colonizers to pay. I mean, I'm glad that they're getting what they deserve, but it's time for us to get what we deserve as well.
Yeah, pay me what you owe me.
Right.
So y'all all think that we should get paid some sort of
reparations. Yes, sir.
And this reparations it seems a lot easier than what they're trying to make it at this point. They made it as easier for them to go through every tribe, every different part to get a certain amount of millions and billions of dollars in order for them to get a certain amount of relief. They got the COVID relief, they got a health relief, they just got a budget and all benefit relief plan. where is our relief? I haven't seen no relief for 500 years now. There's been no relief. It's only been more questions than anything. And every time it's another question with another question instead of giving answers to following the philosophy to these answers. So I just wanted to, to touch bases on how can we justify them getting it and not us? Like, where is the
You can't.
justification?
You can't justify it.
Yeah.
You can't justify it at all. So
No.
what is there? Is there a remedy for this? Can we
Yeah.
remedy? Is there a remedy, Marcella, for that?
Yeah, look at that blueprint. I've been interested to know how they've been championed for themselves behind the scenes to make this happen. They had to have had support. I've lived in Montana and I've seen the reservations. I've seen the culture. You could see remnants. You have streams, states named with Indian names. I don't want to begin to be the type of person that I don't want to subscribe to the idea that they have is a lack on my behalf. I can acknowledge that we haven't received reparations. I'm not sure if they could. I mean, really, in all honesty, the price is too high. There's no amount of money that truly can repair what's been done across the board to so many people.
They can't do it in decade monuments.
You just okay. So if somebody, so we all have precious family members. How much is a life worth it for your family? I mean, is anything that could bring back or make you feel good? I know a couple of $1 million seem like a lot of money, but when you talk about the larger scope of everything that's been done in our community collectively,
you gotta start somewhere. You can't just not start nowhere. You have to start with. If you want to start, you got to start with like the small things. Like, instead, give us like banks, and these banks are just annually giving you or some certain type of mortgage settlement, some type of relief over a life relief debt, like just some type of life relief. Like, it just has to be another way to plan how you can live your life as a king, not even feel as though you're in a poverty state. It just needs to be a whole and clean environment. Like, even the neighborhoods that you live in, there shouldn't be no cracks and bumps in the road. There shouldn't be no trash on the streets. There, even if the people walk out there and throw something on the ground, it should automatically be picked up. It's just something so small that could be something so big and major that can just change the evolution of how we actually live every day. Even in the ghetto, if you live in a ghetto, like, I'm not saying sweep them all out and build the whole ghetto back up, but I mean, make them all condominiums and just change the whole facet of how they living in that actual facility. You know what I mean? If everybody had a whole wall screen TV and nobody could steal the TV off the wall, everybody would feel as though they could watch this one TV from this wall. You know what I mean? So you just have to start somewhere. You can't tell me that we need a start. You can't just say no. You can't start with nothing. And they giving the Indians a start every 20 decades or so. They getting some type of relief or some type of plan, and that's only to call themselves Indians. But technically, if they have the same skin as a melanated person, then something seems to me still be a problem to me. Like, why are we all not benefiting from these monies, these acquisitions of dollars? Like, there has to be some type of benefit, some type of better off way we have to feel. Like what is it that you do, Marcella? What do you actually do in your business? What do you do?
Okay, so first and foremost, I'm a scientist, just like D. We both are engineers. So the second thing is I'm a model citizen. That's my job. To be a model citizen, just be the best that I can do and bring about the greatest amount of benefit to the world. But lastly, for my business, I'm a strategist. I've done it for other big, large organizations that's gross billions of dollars, net billions of dollars a year. And it's always been to the benefit of those businesses. And they drive the needle and support society in many ways. I don't have any complaints. I don't want, because I can get all those things now.
Okay.
Give me something like safety. We talked about wanting to feel safe. We just had a young man.
You're a strategist.
Yeah. But
That's what I want to get
only one
to.
person. One person. Okay, so I'm listening.
That's what I want to get to. You're a strategist, and how, and I want to use your strategies on how to build a better you and me, a better, faster way of life amongst everyone else. And since this is your business, this is what you do as a person of your business, and you strategize and things. And I want to economically go from home to home, from house to house, to build a strategy on how to make us bigger, better, and give me a marketing plan and a strategy on how to make every human being a better, more unpoverty society.
Well, the Honorable Mr. Stevenson say the opposite of justice. He said the opposite of justice is poverty. We
Okay.
live in a capitalist society. I'm gonna take it away from there. That's built on principles, and it's not always principles that's good for everybody. Now, I'm one person. If I come up with the answer to save the world, I need a Nobel Peace Prize, because I'm not the only person on this planet. You see what I'm saying? It's a collective. I think it's a collective activity. For me as
Okay.
a strategist, the first thing I do is understand the lay of the land. As I stated yesterday, people, you could call it imperialism, whatever you want, racism, white supremacy. So many people don't understand what it is. First, educate yourself on the system that you live within. I could take it away from racism, white supremacy. I could take it to other countries where women are brutalized more than I have experienced in my life just because they're women. Um, Operating within that system, I can't show up like this and think that that's going to be cool. I have to conform to the system.
Okay.
So we all operate within a system, and everybody is impacted by it. It's not just well, obviously, if you had to put it on a scale from left to right, let's just say, black people, Indian people, anybody of color have been catching hell here, in
Okay.
this part of the world and many other parts of the world. So there is a scale, and there's a scale of acceptability that's based in a standard. And that standard historically has been the European standard of what is actually acceptable, right, and wholesome and good and worthy of existing. And so I can't say that I can solve the problems of all Indians and black people in America because I am not the spokesperson for everybody. But what I will say, until justice prevail on this planet and in this country, none of us will know peace. That's what I know for sure.
No. That's what I see. I don't want to. I want you to give me an answer of some type of strategy. I want you to work what you do in your everyday life on the system that is at hand at this point in time. This is your job, Marcella. This is put us into work right now.
Oh, this is my job now? Okay, I was fully accepted. This situation happened before. We could probably collectively come up. First thing I would say is understanding is the system that you live in and the rules of engagement and operation.
Okay.
That's number one. I think, probably people who were born many, many decades before me probably understand it a little more because the dynamics have changed. But
Okay.
number two, we've become collectively comfortable to a degree with living within it, because you'll be surprised. Case in point, when I was out in the desert and the moon really didn't come out until after midnight. So it was the first time in my life that there was a complete darkness. I mean, you literally couldn't see in front of yourself. That was something new. That was something frightening, but it was something that I got used to as people around me. So I'm not saying that anybody that's subjected to any type of brutality or harm is used to that and they bring it on themselves. But what I am saying is, you'd be surprised. I always say, man, it's like a bad lover, that you dragging along. Like a piece of meat festering in the doggone sun. You don't want it. You know what I'm saying? You know it stinks. You know it's going to get maggots, but you keep dragging it on because you're accustomed to it. We're accustomed to living in this, and we don't want to live like this. But I've only existed mostly in the U.S., so I am
Okay.
Americanized. I've taken time, and there's more people out there that know a great deal more about history, policy, politics than I do, and they could tell you how to put the pieces together. And I guess I think they would honestly say, to be honest with you, Mr. B,
Uh-huh.
disassemble it and put it back together. Because it's like if you build a house on a rocky foundation, right? Because the house could be as beautiful and magnificent as ever, right?
Uh-huh.
But what does it matter? The foundation is built on.
You know
It's
it's gonna
like,
crumble, right?
yeah, Isabel Wilkerson compares. She calls it caste. She calls racism caste, but she compares it to an old home that may be beautiful and the bones intact, but you still have to put money into it because there's cracks over time that has occurred that must be repaired. And she likened that to racism and the relationships. So no, I'm not. I'm going. I'm not. Look. I don't have all the answers. I would just tell anybody understand the system within you, how you operate, and try to be as authentic and get back to the root of who you are. Because if you don't know who you are, you could be told who you are. We have stereotypes that's been passed down, and people subscribe to those thuggish. I use the one thuggish or the highly sexualized prototype, Jezebel prototype.
Okay.
People subscribe to those. And so I think it's a very individual way. I think if each one of us can make a difference somehow in the lives of others and try to build our life with the way to through activism, okay, that would be a great start. I'm gonna turn the floor to D.
Miss D, what is
Yeah,
what is
he'll
your
put me on the
take on
spot.
this? What is your take on this? Because I really just think the Indians have kind of taken over our plight and definitely changed the way our spectrum has overrisen what we actually need to succeed and be successful. So what is it, Miss D? What do you think? Is there a strategy? Do you have a strategy for us that we can actually overcome these type of plights that's going on?
So the first question you ask is a strategy to build a better you, and
Mm-hmm.
then the strategy to overcome the plights. So um, for the plights, first of all, let me comment on the your opinion that the Indians are taking over our plight. I disagree. They have their own amount of plight that was bestowed upon them by the hands of the colonizers. So
Okay.
they had their land stripped from them like we had our land stripped from us. So we all know that we were on this land as well as the Indians, and all of our lands were taken. So not just the white Indians, but the black Indians as well. So yeah. So they I like that they're getting what's rightfully theirs, a portion of what's rightfully theirs. I'll say it that way. They're not getting everything that's rightfully theirs. They're getting a portion, but I think that it's time for us to get our portion as well. So I think that
Okay.
strategy wise, um, we need to unite as a people. We need to become a people, a race. Like we can't. We have to stop identifying as black, but actually become a people. A nation. And with that, with the I don't know, when you become a nation, you get rights. So
Okay. So you
simple as
guys,
that.
y'all just okay with the Indians getting this 31 billion?
I'm okay because how can I not be okay with them receiving a measure of justice and then still want to have a measure of justice myself, right?
Thank you.
Okay, so you're saying if they didn't get anything, then you'd be upset about it. And if they get something, you're happy about it. Okay, but okay, that's confusing me because we're just left out of this whole entire equation. So where's the equation that you put us in? I'm just trying to figure this out. I'm just trying to figure it out. I mean, y'all have all of these strategies, but you don't have a strategy to come up with why are we a part of any of these equations. It doesn't make any sense. Like zero is not the part of the
Well,
equation that I
we
want to
we
be in.
don't we don't have to be a part of any of the equations because we don't do enough to make ourselves
We don't
important enough
do
to
enough.
listen. We don't do enough to make ourselves important and matter enough to get the justice that we deserve. As long as we continue to just automatically vote Democratic, no matter how they do us policy wise, no matter how they talk to us in our ear and tell us sweet things. And then, once they cross that finish line, it's wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, see you later. And we still continue to subject ourselves to that election after election. You know, nothing's going to change. We're going to keep getting, sweet melodies in our ears, and then nothing when it's at the end of the day, because we continue to vote for people who do not do anything for us,
Yeah.
and then expect for things to change just because they say they're going to change again, and they never do.
But
And
if
they
we
just
don't if
continue,
we don't
and they
vote, then
continue
what?
to get worse because they take advantage of our community.
If we don't vote, then what?
I'm not saying don't vote. I'm saying we need to think about we need to put a little more strategy in how we vote and how we choose our leaders. We just okay, so you asked for a strategy on how to become a better me, a better you, a better us.
I wanted a strategy on
So
how we become effective in getting paid our reparation.
so step one for me is
Good.
you have to understand that you're in a problem, that there actually is a problem, that a problem actually exists. And you have to get to the root cause of that problem, right? So, what is our problem? Our problem is every human is driven by their subconscious mind. And our subconscious programming, if you look at what you're fed every single day by the media that is controlled by your oppressor, then you'll see why we are exactly where we are. You see it flash in our eyes in the media every day. You see why we have broken homes, and you see why black men are violent. Because and what we see why everybody thinks black men are violent, because that's what the media always feeds everyone. So step one for me is realize what's actually going on. Realize that your mind is being messed with every single day in every single way, and unplug from the programming as much as you can. I can tell you that when I stopped watching TV, my life started changing dramatically because I wasn't being fed that programming constantly. My life started changing. So, step one, realize that you are being aggressively programmed to be exactly how you are, to think the way you think about yourself, and to take on those negative stereotypes within your mind and accept them. Step one, you are being programmed. Unplug from the program. That's step one. And once you start to unplug from the program and understand, like Marcella said, who you really are and what you really want and what you really deserve as a human being, and as the divine human being that you are, then you'll have the courage and the intellect and the ability to fight for what you deserve. But as long as we are programmed and accepting everything that's given to us and so thoroughly entertained that we don't have any time to do anything else, we're going to be where we are. Period. That's all I got.
Oh wow, okay, okay, okay. What about you, Marcella? You feel the same way she does on being economically. It's okay for them to have this 31 billion, and we
Absolutely.
still haven't found out a way on how we get our reparations. Okay, we haven't
Well,
found.
yes, and you put it that way, but it's two things at work here. I always say, and I said, until Black Lives Matter, nobody life can matter, because as long as you allow injustice to go in one area, it's like a cancer. It permeates, and then people are less apathetic, and they become immune to it. How many times can we sit on TV and watch a black male be killed? It becomes commonplace. The first couple of times might have been shocking, but after a while, you'd be like, well, doggone it. And then pretty soon, you're like the people who are on the street right now marching and trying to do something to bring about change, because they're hurting. They can feel that pain, and they activate it. She is right. There's a such thing as a subconscious mind. I mentioned it earlier this week, that there are parts of us that we can't see. It remains hidden from us. But there are people that study us and know us more than we do ourselves. You could call them behaviorists. We have all types of scientists to talk about the mind. So we are being programmed through the TV, through the media. It's telling us what to think, how we should think. And when you stop looking at it and start listening to your own voice, get away from the cell phones, all of that, you'd be
Yeah.
surprised what messages come to you, and the things that you begin to gravitate towards. I wanted to add something in addition to what Dee said. we have three parties: Democrat, Republic, and Independent Party.
Okay.
That independent party's been sitting there and it hasn't been able to break through the ceiling between the two wings of the same bird, right? Because the Democrats, Republican, they're the same. They two wings on the same birds, just different size, but it's the same old bird, okay? So my point is, we should one understand that oppression looks, smell, and tastes the same everywhere across the globe. I've traveled throughout the globe. Oppression is oppression. It's a power dynamic rooted firmly in and also in economics too. But secondly, unification. If Asians, if black people, we've been out on the street getting our butts kicked on camera for decades, okay? But
Okay.
everybody thought it was just our problem, and to some degree, they thought, because of their programming, that we were uncultivated animals and deserved it. Until, like I said, injustice can turn like a rabid dog on anybody that's around. You have many other communities that's experienced something similar. They're getting a little taste of it. I have yet to see anybody subjected the way I've seen a black man on TV be subjected to violence and disrespect. So I'm not making a comparison to say that
Right.
anybody
They'll even leave them outside. They'll even leave them outside longer. Won't basically call the ambulance faster. They just basically will leave them out there to rot, and for it to be a monument that this one particular time this has happened, and for everybody make it a spectacle out of the person that's actually been killed. So it has been a little bit like Michael Brown's body was out there for way too long. It was like, the heat was actually burning his body up throughout the floor and the ground, and it was just more of a look what I've done approach
Mm-hmm.
in the neighborhood more than let's get this man to getting some help and trying to save his life. So it does play a very big important role on how we actually monumentally think about things and how they treat us and how they act, because they actually use these times and these moments to make a spectacle out of it or a show out of it instead of actually helping the person out and getting that person to be able to survive from the actual shooting or whatever happens in that. Well, I'm not going to move on from that situation, but I will talk about a little bit of difference of what we've seen lately. Lately, in the world of actors and actresses, we haven't been seeing much of too many artists do the right thing, is what I call it. And at this point on SNL, that's Saturday Night Live, if y'all haven't seen the article that I sent you guys, the article shows Kid Cudi wearing a dress. Now, Kid Cudi used to sing the song Day and Night, the Day and Night song. It was a nice little song or whatever. And I really thought Kid Cudi was going to break out to be a good, semi okay rapper. But now he has changed my mentality on. He made me say, why? Give me the why moment. What do you ladies think about these rappers coming out and wearing these dresses? Like, what in the world are we thinking on this behalf? Miss D, can you help me out with this? What are we
I know
doing?
you asked another question, but I just wanted to add to Miss D's comment the last time that we should vote. I was bringing up the independent party because we should vote in blocks.
We should vote in blocks. What you mean?
Because we vote and we are one hand, you can smack the mess out of somebody with one hand, but once you ball that fist up, it's more powerful. When a lot of other communities understand, they act in unison. We don't vote in a block. That's why our vote isn't as powerful as it could be.
So we should all just vote one way. That's it.
Switch the demand the independent candidate that address what we want, unified and Afro-Cuban, Afro-Latino, Afro-Haitian, whatever you want to call yourself. I don't, Afro-American.
Okay.
We are all in the same boat. So, let's move together and try to steer this ship together. And that's, I know you passed it, Mr. B, but that was one point that I wanted to make that I think tied closely with what Damali said. If we want political power, we want to operate within the system, we must operate in a block.
In a block, okay.
Economic block, political block, legal block, entertainment block. And I'm going to end it here because I wanted to bring it back to what you said about Kid Cudi, because I want Dee to speak on that, and then I'll speak on that. And maybe we could come to an agreement as a community about what we will listen to, what we will pay for, and what we will allow to be injected into our psyche and the psyche of our children. Maybe we won't see this type of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
go ahead, Dee, because I didn't mean to interrupt, but I had to make that point about voting as a block. That's one solution.
That's
Yeah.
well spoken.
So, speaking of the psyche and what we're being subjected to, I understand, people have a right to do what they want and be who they want to be. But I find it funny that whenever you see Black men in the media, most of the time they're either thugs or they are dressed as women. And we are being aggressively programmed to be who we are, who we say we are, and what we say and what we feel we are. So, we're being aggressively programmed. So we have Kid Cudi on Saturday Night Live in a dress.
That's it, huh?
Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame that when you see the black male image in our media, it is always a thug or a homosexual male. Now do not get me wrong. I have no issues with homosexuality by any means. Be who you are, do what you do. I'm cool, I have a lot of people in my life who I love who are homosexual, but I just think that, let it be a natural thing. Don't let it be a program thing. Don't let it be an aggressively, do this in your subconscious mind thing. Let it be a natural thing. Don't aggressively program our Black men to be thugs and homosexuals. If a man naturally becomes that without being aggressively programmed, cool. But they're aggressively programming our Black men. The end.
Well, my take is similar yet very different, because I did have a chance to do a little research online about this, because I couldn't understand why somebody like Kid Cudi would do something like this. And it turns out that he was honoring a white male who rose to fame, named Kurt Cobain, right?
Yeah.
Again, it's 2 points I want to make. If you know who you are, it's things that you won't do. I'm not sure why he identified with this man that was a prolific artist, but he committed suicide, sadly, and he did drugs. I don't see that in Kid Cudi. I don't even see the parallel. So what happened was, Kurt Cobain had wore the same type of, I think, cardigan that Kid Cudi sung in. And it happens to be very close to the time that Kurt Cobain killed himself. But then also Kurt Cobain was on the cover of a magazine in that same dress, in a dress. It goes back to what I said in another show. We were talking about whether or not whether I should be the one to protect my beautiful Black man. And I said, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that woman. I don't want to have to be that woman. You see what I'm saying? I don't want to have to be that woman. And quite frankly, if we have to drape our bodies over our loved ones just to stop the violence, I'm not going to say I wouldn't do that for the man that I love. I don't want to have to be that woman. So here's the point. There are obvious gender roles and roles as it relates to prescribed gender roles that's just accepted, that had been previously accepted as the norm. Okay. Previously accepted. And so it is, if we're expected, if Black women are expected to have superhuman strength, almost man-like, where we're not even seen as women sometimes. That's why, sometimes you'll see women being brutalized, Black women being brutalized just like Black men by the police, right? So if we're being pushed into a masculine state or idea, and our counterpart is being pushed into a feminine type of idea, and what does that say? It's switching the roles, and then it causes confusion in the family unit. And when you look back at slavery and how that destroyed families. And now you're looking at this psychological, media driven mumbo jumbo that's kind of confusing the issue too, because this is crazy on so many different levels, okay?
Yes, it is.
On so many different levels. Um, it lets you know, and it supports the argument that there's a concerted effort to destroy to some degree. Some people come to give and grow, and others come to destroy. I don't see how he justified it. Kid Cudi, I hadn't heard of him in a while, to be honest with you.
In a long time.
Exactly. So now he's on Saturday Night Live in a dress. And don't get me wrong, Jewish brothers wear something over them that looks a little like a kilt. Sometimes, not Jewish, but Muslim brothers. Muslim brothers sometimes wear long, and so do African brothers. They wear long ceremonial type things that may appear to be a dress, but it's rooted in their belief system and spirituality. Some of them on the street, they just say, look, I'm hiding my jewels. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I mean, it's all about being modest and observing something for a reason. This right here, sometimes, like Dave Chappelle said, you got to know when you or somebody is laughing at you or they laughing with you. We got, what's old boy name who having sex with the devil?
With the what?
What's his name?
Old Town Road boy.
You're talking about Nas X?
Nas X, yeah.
Exactly. So when you
he doing what?
Having sex with the devil. He bending over, having sex with the devil.
With the dummy.
With the devil. With the depiction, a visual depiction of
what
with
the like. And the blood shoes and everything. That all kinds of shoes.
So how can you respect, and how can, if we're doing stuff like this, and he's someone that people admire. Little children look up to him, they love his music. What kind of imaging is he? Is he producing? So I'm going to, because I could go on and on about this, and I don't want to.
No, go ahead. The whole point of it is how are we
the battlefield of the mind? That's what I'm saying.
How are we even looking at these guys? That's okay. Okay. How we call these our greatest rappers of all time, and they wearing dresses? It doesn't make sense to me. It's just, this is what I want to look up to, Nas X and with the devil and blood in a tennis shoe, and you should pay $500 for the tennis shoe just because it got some human blood in it. It's like, okay. What point are we really trying to prove now as economic and cultured African Americans? What are we thinking right now? What are we spending our money on?
About the money, and it goes back to what you mentioned about reparation, being able to have a TV and have financial gain. But what good is to have financial gain and you don't have a mind or a soul to go with it? I'd say it's not about the shoes, it's not about the blood, it's about the impact that what he did will have on young people.
Okay.
And I'm not going to say that our community is the only community listening to him, but how can you feel sympathy when you see these depictions of people that look like the men who are everyday men just trying to live being killed? Now, Nas X is living probably large. He don't have to worry. He got security. He don't have to really truly worry about being choked out in the street. But what is you laughing? But the problem is the mindset that cultivates make people feel justified with doing that, and that's what makes it sad. What
is he trying to prove though? Wearing a dress?
He's making the money. It's the money. It's not trying to prove nothing. He's clout chasing. It's the money. Okay, so we talked about, and then I'm going to shut up and let D and you talk. We talked about knowing who you are. When you don't know who you are, someone will tell you in who you are. They will make you into what they perceive you to be. And if you allow it to be somebody that don't respect you or your culture, then what they're going to make you into is a fool or some type of parody or some BS. I mean, I can't see any reason why he would be emulating Kurt Cobain, wearing a dress on national TV, and also just behaving in whatever manner he's going to be. He just wants some attention in media. All media isn't good media.
What you think, Miss D?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's just, I've already said it. I don't know. I just get tired of seeing it. it's like it's like you said, we haven't seen this guy perform anything new in so long, and he pops up out of nowhere in a dress. I mean, that says it all. Like, what is the purpose of him popping up in a dress, emulating somebody who his life is nothing like? What is the true purpose of that? So I don't know. I
So
just
y'all don't know the meaning of him wearing a dress on Saturday Night Live. He Kurt Cobain. I knew Kurt Cobain. I thought Kurt Cobain did a Saturday Night Live before too, but I don't know what was his whole point. Like, I'm still trying to figure out what's the whole point of the presidents wearing wigs and dresses, like the George Washington. Why was they wearing wigs at that time? Like, what was their whole point of that European culture being brought here, and what was that about? Like, what were they trying to emulate the woman? Like, what was their whole meaning of everything? And that just didn't show masculinity to me at all. You know what I'm saying? Wearing these wigs and these dresses. Something needs to be addressed at this point in time when it comes to how Hollywood is actually making men at this point. What happened? I mean, okay, Bill Cosby to me was a genius because technically he was the only one that had positive family television. You know what I mean? You was actually watching a positive family that was built on morals and they had pride in their family, and it shows you just what you needed to do to be successful. And those are the shows that every kid and every family should watch. I mean, that's the blueprint of what we should have every day. That's what we should be watching every day. That is the blueprint of a real TV show. You know what I mean? You know, even the Meteor Man, the Robert Townsends of the world. You know, it just those things are really missing from how the communities were made and built. So how can we build these communities if now they're giving us dresses, Marcella? Now they giving us things that we supposed to be like, oh, that was my man back in the day. Now you're like, okay, he's
he's in a dress.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
So
I
even
respectfully disagree with some of what you said. The notion of the strong black family unit is a message that needed to be seen. But
okay,
there's so many different ways to experience prosperity in the U.S. that doesn't necessarily mean that we have to conform.
but
I
how can we see it though? We not seeing
They
it.
only show one half. I mean, like I have yet, and I'm not going to say I have yet to see a ethnic looking lady like me with my hair, my natural hair, strongly thrust in the forefront of American society and seen as the standard of what femininity and womanhood is and beauty. You know,
Okay,
Yeah.
so my thing is, don't get me wrong. I like what Bill Cosby did. I like watching Felicia Rashad and all the family members. They told about the rich history of jazz. It presented another example of black life in America because a lot of people, I mean, all black people don't live poor and haven't lived poor for a long time. So
Right.
that whole narrative about struggling, isn't that financially struggling? Isn't everybody's narrative?
right.
I don't think that they ever made the connection between the diaspora and globally what has occurred to our people. Now, what a lot of black people will say is that I'm not an African, I am black. Okay, but you have accepted the identity that was given to you due to the situation. I believe that life started on the continent of Africa, and that to some degree, um, that's where I'm from. That's my origination. Just like Chinese people could say that they originated on the continent of China in the country. I don't. Is China a continent?
You talking
In
about
China,
Asia?
Asia. Oh, continent of Asia. Oh Lord. Okay.
But it was a
Um,
black person that was there first too.
well, like I lived in Japan, but I never seen the monks. The monks they talk about who had the afros. But I will tell you something.
Buddhism and karate was made by Africans.
I'm not even going to argue that. So mathematics, a lot of people went over to Egypt and Africa to study. You can look at the pyramids. That was pure mathematics, physics, and science and everything, all
Uh-huh.
thrown in one. They claim they still haven't figured out how that occurred. And
Who
I know
claims they? No. They are going to tell you they haven't figured it out, but they figured it out. The Wright brothers didn't. They wasn't the first to make a plane. They got that idea from Africa. They got that idea from in the tomb. from them actually going into the tomb and finding out that, oh my God, they made plain. So it's a known fact that they weren't the first to do anything. It was just they were the first to patent it.
Yeah, but I was talking about, I could respect that, and but I was talking about the science of frequency and matter.
Okay.
Okay, and so in science we learn that everything still is moving. You learn in status and dynamics, everything appears to stay still because the forces are acting on each other with equal and opposite force, which allows it to stand. That's why you have bridges, buildings, and everything. Here we go. This is a scientific exercise, but that's why you have them standing still. But there is other sciences that talks about frequency and what you can do with frequency, sound, and how that impacts matter. I
Right.
believe, based on my limited knowledge, that's the type of science we're talking about. And even though you have the machine in Europe that's bursting atoms, right? I
Mm-hmm.
forgot the name of the machine. D, if you remember, let me know. But the point of the fact of the matter is, that's some strong type of energy when you could do that.
Mm-hmm.
We have melanin. Our melanin is very close to the compound carbon, and it's just about indestructible. So, I mean, when you look at all of this, and that's why I said earlier that, once you understand who you are, what you embody, why you exist, in the magnificent nature of your construction, then you're not able to act in a destructive way towards it. You're not able to eat certain things. You respect your DNA. I think a lot of people don't respect their DNA, because you can't just procreate with everybody. Procreation serves a
Oh
very
wow.
specific purpose. You can't just be out there spreading your DNA everywhere, because to some degree, it is not necessarily always compatible. So I'm
Oh
getting kind of
wow.
off topic, but the point I'm trying to make is we do, and we all the precious minerals are found over in Africa. All great things come out of Africa. So what makes us think that we're great? We came out of Africa, but we have forgotten, and that's what we were saying. D and I was knowing yourself, and understanding. You're taught when you get 18, your parents pour everything they can, through what they know into you, but all of it isn't necessarily the truth for you.
Or
And so you
good
have
for you, right?
yeah, so I mean that's the point. I don't know why Cuddy out there in the dress. I know if I wouldn't trust him. I mean, he would have to make a strong argument if he was interested in me, and building a family with me. And I'm not saying that that's the truth, but he would have to make a really strong, compelling argument why I would even want to connect with you after you
Oh,
did
you
something.
mean if he was trying to get with you, you would
He
say
was
you
trying
wouldn't
to
even
build a
give.
life. Yeah, if he was trying to build a life, if he was trying to get with me or build a life, I mean, he'd have to make it would have to be a strong, compelling argument out of this world
He have to
to make the
talk
image
your
of him and
socks
address me in
off
my mind.
to
Huh?
get. He would have to talk his socks off to get to talk to you. Is what you're telling me? Because he wore that dress. So does
Because he
that
wore that
change the
dress.
complexity of a man because
Yes.
he put on that dress?
Yes, it's not a piece of traditional garb that's respectful. He would have to. I don't know what he could say if he was interested in me, and it was vice versa. Because I think me and Cuddy is from two different generations. I don't even think he's within the age range of that of who
Well,
I would date.
wait a minute. He not the only one that's wore a dress. I mean, you want to talk about Vin Raines, Wesley Snipes in the 2-1 Fu movie. You seen that 2-1 Fu movie?
Well, Wesley Snipes don't he don't. I'm not his cup of tea though. He like Asian women. He went on record to say that he prefer Asian women.
Wait,
So he wasn't trying to talk to me. I actually find Wesley Snipes. I love melanated men,
so no,
and
I'm
so I
saying
find him sexy.
would you? No, I'm saying would you talk to him though? Because
That's
after
the
he
point
done wore the
too.
dress.
He'd have to make a compelling argument. He'd have to make a compelling argument. I try not to ever say no, because you never know why somebody. We don't know who Kid Cudi is and Wesley Snipes is behind that entertainment facade. So I can't really judge him. All I could say is that it's just perplexing to me.
Okay.
That's all I could say.
What about you, Miss D, on this dress? I mean,
I
we
don't
had
have anything else to say about that, Mr. B. I mean,
for real.
yeah, I mean, it's just
Is it okay for him to wear that?
it is okay for anybody to do whatever they want to do. But as I said before, can we see a strong black man with a suit? with the wife, with the ring, with some
Thank you.
kids next to him, being positive, being
Thank you.
masculine, being, can we see some of those images? I mean, I understand that there are men who like to wear dresses, but can the men who don't wear dresses see men who are like them being shown as a positive image in our media? Can a heterosexual male be represented in our media?
And a strong representation, not a
A
little bit.
strong representation. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what's
man.
needed. But they all in jail.
No, they not. They Mr. B right here. They
I'm
not
just
all
saying,
in
when
jail.
you get your strongly masculine, I told you the first rule of war is to burn the village down, kill all the men and strong, kill all the strong men and little boys that's going to grow up to be strong men. That is a rule. You see it in the movies all the time. That is an actual rule. So my
Okay.
point is, the strong alpha males, I'm telling you, they locked away.
They locked
I'm
away.
not saying that you're not, but I'm saying it's a great majority of them is locked away. They could be political prisoners or what have you. But yeah, yeah,
Okay. Well, on a side note,
neutralized.
on a side note, have y'all seen that about Dennis Rodman? I know y'all did. I don't know if I sent that to y'all, but Dennis Rodman's daughter has just now her first game as in soccer playing has just now scored her first
Did we
goal.
lose you?
Not lose who? I'm here.
No, you went out for a second, Marcella.
Oh, okay. Dennis Rodman's daughter scored a goal for her first major league women's soccer team. What do you think about that, Misty?
I mean,
You
she
know
came
anything
from.
about Dennis
I
Rodman?
don't know anything about it, but I mean, she came from good genes, so I'm not surprised. No, seriously. I mean, athletes breed athletes, and so if she used her athletic abilities to be a soccer star, then kudos to her. Congratulations. That's awesome. My son loves soccer. He's not interested in football or basketball. He wants to play soccer, and that's what he does. So
Oh,
yeah, I
really?
love
Okay,
it.
okay.
It's nice.
So you're a soccer mom, is what you're saying?
I am a soccer mom.
Really, really.
Hmm.
Soccer. You said you are a soccer mom.
I am a soccer mom.
So what's your favorite sport that you would actually play? Would you let your kids play the most?
I'm gonna go with soccer. I would love him for him to play basketball. He'll be pretty tall. I would love for him to play basketball and soccer. Definitely a
Okay.
no on football. I just, as much as I love to watch it, I never want my children to play football. And
Really?
I used to love watching it. Actually, I haven't watched a football game. Since Cap took a knee, I haven't really watched football because after I protested that one season and realized how much more freedom I was having with my time and enjoying it, I just never went back to watch football again. So
Oh wow. Okay.
never
Okay.
went back.
Never went back after the cap take a knee thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
never went back. Been enjoying my time.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, that's what's up. That's kind of I never thought about actually how the football games have kind of depleted at this point, and now we're trying to
Hmm.
actually bring these football games back. And
Yeah.
when we lose the football games, you got to notice that every time you lose a football game,
Okay.
uh, that whole week is you look forward to that one Sunday because there's really nothing to
Hmm.
do on Sunday. It's really never nothing to do on
Yeah,
Sunday.
that's one of the things. That's one of the things that actually made me just quit because the energy draining. I actually cheer for two teams in football, and the two worst teams you could possibly cheer for: the Dallas Cowboys and the Houston Texans. My
Oh
two
my.
teams.
Okay, you a
So
Texan.
my Sundays are pretty depressing.
Oh, okay, okay. I see what you're saying. You
So it's
got
like, why put yourself through all that energy, energy drain. And then I just
wow.
got, used to not going through that and ups and downs of this, so I just enjoy not putting myself through that anymore.
So after we talked a little bit more about these effective actual artists and musicians or whatever, I wanted to still stay on these musicians. I wanted to talk to you about Usher and how Usher just came out in the latest polls on tipping the stripper with his own money, his own face on his money. So the money that he gave out to the stripper was basically fake money with
Wait a
his
minute.
face on there. What is your take on Usher going to the strip club and giving out fake money, Miss D?
That's bummish. You mean to tell me he is out here giving out? What is it good for, Usher? What can money with your face buy me besides burn? That's what
Oh,
I want to know.
say his money burning.
Exactly. That's real bummish. I mean, hopefully it was mixed in with some real dollar bills, y'all. I mean, come on now. That's
Nah,
that's messed up.
it wasn't mixed in with nothing.
Nothing.
Please tell me there was more to like. What could she redeem him for? Tell me something else with the story because I didn't read the story. I didn't see the story. So
Nothing.
just his face. Just
She thought that he was giving her the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. Next thing you know, she looks at the money and it's just Usher face on there
wow.
on the $100 bills, and everybody, the media is saying, how could Usher put his face on a dollar when Harriet Tubman hasn't even made it? So it was like a
Oh
joke.
my goodness.
So I
Yeah.
mean, and it must have been like at least $1,000 of these Usher bills. So
Yeah, that's nonsense.
what do you
Yeah.
think about that,
That's,
Marcella? What you think about Usher and his strip
Okay, hold
club
on. I'm trying to figure
giving
out.
out tips?
Can I be heard?
Yeah, we can hear you.
yeah.
Okay. She's going to get paid that money and more because she's going to sue Usher and she's going to have the right to. It's a crime also to print out counterfeit money. And Usher, knowing how unforgiving the media had been about his sescapades and his allegedly him having some sexually transmitted diseases.
Uh,
You know, this is just makes me wonder about what the heck is Usher thinking about his mental. And without judgment, I can say that I feel that the stripper is a businesswoman. And
okay.
Exactly.
I've been to a strip club. I mean, I'm in Atlanta. What are you talking about? Okay, so look, them girls being there working it. They look
Working.
great. So I mean, looking great costs money. So they in there looking great, doing some things that the athletic agility, I'd be like, wow, I'm
Mm-hmm.
impressed. So they doing all of this to entertain you, and you don't respect them enough or the craft enough because stripping is an art form.
It
If
Mm-hmm.
you're
sure
serious
is.
about it, I'm serious. I work out. I can't get my butt up on a pole and do those acrobatics that they do. And so it was disrespectful. And if I can't, I'm not going. I don't like I said. I don't know what he was thinking, and he might have thought it was funny, but he was a little out of touch on that one. And I think he's going to pay. I think he's going to be writing a check for more than however. And if she has a good publicist, she could get paid off of that foolishness. That was
Oh,
foolishness.
really?
And the question is, why was he in a strip club during the height of this pandemic? I just don't think he was thinking straight. I don't think he was thinking straight.
You don't
I
think
don't
so?
think. No, he couldn't have been. Because if he was thinking straight, he would know that passing off fake money, counterfeit money, is a federal offense, fully enforceable by the law.
So you thinking that this is an offense, and she thinking like this is a tip. This is the tip that I'm getting for stripping. I don't. That's a little different way of thinking about it. I'm not too sure how my take on this actual Usher event, because Usher do some dumb stuff. I ain't gonna lie to you. Usher has made some nice albums that lately. He's been pretty good. The Take That Dive album and all that. You know, I
Hmm.
just really think Usher is a pretty good artist. So if he could stay out of the media of the limelight of what's happening to him in his everyday life, he might, be on a higher pedestal than most artists, to be honest, if he can just get out of his own way. You know what I mean? Usher not bad. You know what I'm saying? He's really not that bad. He's just a little bit
Immature.
well, he's not. He just can't. He's not coherent or
Yeah.
understanding
Okay. Yeah.
He's out of
how he's
touch.
supposed to
He's a
be a
famous
better
guy.
person.
He's a famous guy. I would dare to say from his pictures, good looking. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how he
Okay.
look in person. Um, but that action right there, he's a little out of touch with that one. I'm serious. I mean, I never gone for me to go in a stripper club with some Monopoly money. I don't get it. Not unless he's looking for some clout. This could be a publicity stunt.
So this is a stunt. You thinking that he was in there? I think he was just trying to be funny. It's not April Fools though. He might have got his the money late for April Fools. You know what I mean? Is she gonna count the bills as thousands? Like each usher that she got, is that $100 that she gonna count to sue him? Is that what she about to do? You think that's what she trying to do?
She
I
can
don't
sue him.
know.
She's a businesswoman. There's an expectation that you give American currency or some type of currency that could be spent. He gave her fake money. I'm just
Right.
gonna stick to that. And what made him think? I mean, would he go to his doctor and get fake money? Would he go to a steakhouse or his chef or wherever he eats and get fake money? What made him think it was okay to give fake money to a woman that's working really hard to make her money?
Prince
See,
Hakeem, he gave the
that
Zamunda money.
no, the
Right.
thing is, we talked about in a few shows ago, how women are treated. It's just another example of how we disrespected on so many levels, and he felt he could do that. But I'm going to tell you that I do believe he's either going to quietly settle it like he did with the STD stuff, or or it's going to be some type of repercussions. That's all I have to say.
So you definitely on this STD thing. He just totally not for you, huh? He definitely
As
gonna
far as
just
no judgment. They say one in what is it? 4 out of 5 people got They said he allegedly, because you have to say allegedly because we really don't know that he had herpes. So they say 4 out of 5 people had it. I might have the statistics wrong. It might be 3 out of 5, but that's a lot of
had
people.
herpes from Usher.
No. It's the statistics. It's a common concern. It's a common venereal disease. So it's
Mm.
not one of them things where it's just 1 in 5. I mean, it's literally like either three to 5 or 4 to 5. You can look up the
Well,
statistics.
how common is that common?
Very common. I mean, if it's 3 out of 5 or 4 out of 5 people that have it, that's very common.
Ooh,
So if you sleep with
man.
5 people out in a month or whatever, or let's even say a year, let's just say is if you man, just stop. It's a 20 to 30. It's just a 20 to 30. It's just what is it? Two fifths. What is it, D? Two
Of
fifths is we
what?
got
See,
1/5. That's about 40% chance, and when you move up to 3 out of 5, that's a 60% chance.
60% chance. Yeah.
So I mean, you kind of playing, Russian roulette with your
With your
body.
genitals.
Or whatever. I mean, it could be genitals, mouth, whatever. I mean, people get herpes in the eyes, like, and the only reason I know this is because I
Yeah.
study I just be reading all kinds of stuff, to be honest with you. So that's one of them things, but herpes is very common. You'd be surprised
Yeah.
at how common it is.
I'm surprised. Period. At this point, I'm totally surprised with how things are. These conversations have been pretty
Yeah,
monstrously wild at this
I've learned a
point.
lot from you.
I mean, I'm just thinking that Usher is the man. He's the man, and these celebrities get all the women that they want in their lifetime. Like Usher
Yeah.
can get anybody he wants right now.
Not
Anybody.
really. No, we can't. No, we can't.
Mm-mm.
It's a very lonely existence to be. You should know that, Doctor Mister B, because entertainers are very lonely. They're very lonely, especially at the highest form of the food chain, where Usher is a multi-platinum international star. Okay,
Okay.
he don't know whether people want to be with him because he Usher, because he has money. You know what I'm saying? So, in
Okay.
traveling, and failed marriages and relationships, who knows what type of stupid shit he did to piss his wives off. My whole point is, it's a lonely. What do Usher do when he go home? I mean, he can have any girl, but after you can have any flavor of the week, what's next? Where's that connection? Are you capable of having a connection?
Is
I
he
don't think that
capable?
I can't. I don't know him personally. I can't
Don't
say. I
know.
don't know.
Yeah.
He better connect with
Is he
that force.
capable of having a deep connection within himself?
I don't know.
We can't judge that. We don't know.
So you saying you can't judge exactly the knowledge of knowing that this man is can get any person that he wants and he's not happy with it? I mean, well, you're saying with all these diseases that he might be containing is a little bit different too. I don't know if you can actually walk around this earth knowing you're an infested disease carrying something.
You sound
I
like
just
you
don't
just sound
know.
like you judging so bad.
No, I'm just saying I can't. I can judge you off of if you have impurities in your body and you popping pills in order to be with that person. That's kind of different. You know what I mean? You're not a regular person. You know what I mean? It's nothing I can say about what Usher is doing and how he's actually benefiting from throwing strippers his own currency. I'm just thinking, was he if she can turn the money in and get more money or different money? I'm just want to know. It has to be more than just giving the Usher money. Like, is she supposed to put it on a plaque? Is it like a baseball card now, where now it's like a signature, and this how much this money is worth back in a couple years from now? Is this what's going to happen? I mean, I just want to know. I just want to know. I just think
So it's a passport for money.
I'm just trying to see. I mean, is he using it like he Zamunda, like he Prince Hakeem? You know what I mean? I'm Usher. Here's my money.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I mean, y'all don't know. Give me a take on there and try to make things different. If that's what the people doing nowadays, that's what they doing. You know what I'm saying? That's the new norm. Y'all don't believe in that the new norm?
COVID has affected people in all kinds of ways, man. They just need to stay their ass at home and stop going out
Right.
here doing stupid stuff. That was stupid.
That was totally dumb to you. You ain't like it at all.
No, no. I mean, I don't. He needs to come on. He needs to explain. I hope he got donkey today. That's all I got to say. I sure hope he
Yeah.
got donkey today.
Dang. So he's supposed to get
Yeah.
knocked the other day for that? For real?
Yeah, yeah. Because
Yeah.
he was disrespecting the girls. The girls need their money. The girls need their money.
Now
It's
some
not a
people like
joke.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I mean, I could see if he was like trying to be funny, like ha ha ha, and put something in there with some real money. But if he was just like making it rain with his money and then walked off, and she collected it and turned around, like what is this? Yeah,
Exactly,
nah, he should have
and
got
how
exactly.
you
dunked
gonna be like the
today.
girl need their money
Yeah,
though?
that's messed up because that's somebody's job. And
Yeah,
so when you perform and you see a rain, you see it raining, you work a little harder and you work hard for nothing.
yeah.
I just
And putting your
it's
health in danger. 'Cause
right. You just nah.
You
That's
telling me because she doing some extra backflips because she see the money flipping that
yeah. Doing putting a little more cardio into it and everything.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, I'm
she
being serious.
she
If you see
overperforming.
Usher making it rain, you're gonna work a little harder. And then
yeah.
for you to turn around and find it to be fake money, I'm claiming emotional distress.
Are
I'm
You should have
y'all
distressed.
called the
serious?
I
cops.
thought I had a
You should have called the
payday.
cops. I'd have called the
You know?
cops.
Are you
Yeah.
serious? Y'all ladies can't be
I
serious.
just spent all this
Call the
time at
cops.
your table.
Yeah.
I could have been somewhere else making actual money, and you have me over here thinking I'm being paid by Usher and it's fake money. Nah, clown. Nah,
So
it's making me mad thinking about
really upset
it.
about it? Are y'all really upset about it?
No, there's no emotional attachment. There's no judgment. It's just us listening to the information that you gave us and giving our
But
opinion, our unpopular opinion. Usher was an asshole for that one. Yeah. If it rolled out
economically,
the
you
way they
think
said it did, if it rolled out the way they said, yeah, yes, he was.
so? Economically, you think that these women deserve an entitlement of certain amount of money for him going into the strip club? Y'all saying they worked a little bit harder and should get benefits from working a little harder for that money.
She
That's
deserved
kind
to
of
be compensated like anybody else. See, people want to disrespect strippers and prostitutes and everything, but they working girls. They trying to earn a living wage to be able to support themselves. There was a judgment made on her that night, and when he gave her that money, threw her that fake money, you know what he was saying? That she didn't matter. she was unimportant, that she didn't deserve to be compensated. See, that's why I said I think that he is a little out of touch with that one, because he would have never went to his dentist and did that. He would have never went to a female doctor and did that. He would never, you know what I'm saying? His lawyer, you know, he would never did that, but he thought it was okay to do it to her because she's a stripper, and he thought it was funny at her expense. He's out of touch with that one. And sometimes when you move into a different economic and status environment, then you may not understand what the everyday person. This girl is out here, and we're in the middle of a major pandemic working. She don't want to be out here working and doing a middle a pandemic like that. He would no, he was a miss with that one. I can't support you, Strat. I want to know what you think about that. You thought that was funny?
I thought it was hilarious,
I
actually.
know you did. I know you did. I know.
I know. I'm sorry. I felt a little insensitive on the whole situation, but I thought it was, kind of cool. You know what I'm saying? It was like Wakanda. What is it? Coming to America. Prince Hakeem throwing his little dollars out there and getting a signature souvenir. Like the strippers in the whole entire club said, Usher was here. They got something to go home by. They're gonna spend the money, but you can't spend that. You can't spend no signature dollar that Usher's face is on it. Now you know that Usher was once here. You know what I'm saying? You could put it up like a plaque. You know what I mean? Like a baseball card. So
Yeah, out
a
of touch.
memorabilia.
No, she would have preferred some Benjamins, but I'm going to speak on the fact that we don't saw that movie that we talked about with Eddie Murphy, and we talked about how stuff like that could influence your mind. Now, maybe he saw that movie, maybe he thought the movie was funny, maybe he thought that the person would appreciate his type of comedy. But the problem is just like he went, like you said, you think that he might have been, reenacting a movie. How many violent movies do our children see that they reenact?
A lot of them that they should.
Yeah, it's dangerous. I hope he pays twice as whatever amount he gave her. He needs to give her twice as much in money. He needs to give her twice as much in money.
Really? So
Yeah, he
you
does.
saying if he threw out 50,000 ushers, he should
Yeah.
give out 50,000 ushers?
Mm-mm. If he gave out 50,000 Usher dollars, he needs to give out 100,000 real American dollars. That's bankable. That she can do something with it. And if I was her, if I was a stripper, I definitely would be investing my tax-free dollars, making them grow in various packages such as stocks, options, futures, definitely real estate, cryptocurrency, whatever. I would have an OnlyFans page making money. We saw my OnlyFans page. I would have an OnlyFans page making money. Something to turn that money around because you're not young and beautiful forever. So you're gonna
Right.
have to make some money. It is. I
Yep.
mean, some of them girls probably giving happy endings. I don't know what they're doing. I mean, I can't even imagine what strain is. To go up there. I seen them on the pipes on the top of the roofs, just getting it in on the poles, and very athletic. How do they feel if they do that lots of days a week? How do they feel? Do they have aches and pains? Do they have good medical coverage? See, he thought he could disrespect them because of the life that because of the type of work they do. But I don't think he's going to get. I don't think he's going to get away with that
I
one.
never once asked the stripper how does she feel. And I mean,
Nobody
I never
cares.
thought about that. Like they're constantly dancing. The pole is actually a hard apparatus to try to, actually be a beast on, is what I call it. It's a hard working art. It's actually a strong workout. So you can't be on the pole for hours and hours. You'll conk out before you even get to the 30-minute mark. So what did you
Exactly.
think about that? What do you think? What do you think about that, Miss D? You think what's the rate on a stripper rate on, like, what's the life expectancy of a stripper? What do you think? What is that? What is a life
That's a
expectancy?
strange question.
Like a football player, 10-year mark, they don't want the football player to really be a good athlete. He's not considered the number one top tier athlete anymore. So what do you consider a stripper's rate? You know what I mean? What's her Players Club rate?
Listen, if you want to strip at 50, strip at 50. Do you? That's my thing. Do you?
At
If
50?
somebody is still willing to stuff dollars in your whatever at 50, and that's what you want to do you?
What? I wonder what the
Now
market
will
rate is.
people pay for a 50-year-old? I don't know. I don't know what the life expectancy is. I just never thought about that. You have some really good looking 50-year-olds out there. You got some really bad looking 30-year-olds out there. I don't know. Just depends on how well you take care of your body, I guess. I don't know,
So
man.
you saying about 50 years old is
I,
that's
I
a
don't know.
little bit too high. That's a little bit too
I'm
high.
not, I'm really not feeling
I'm
this
not trying
question,
to
Mr.
watch it.
B.
No, I'm not trying to go watch a 50 year
I'm really
old.
not
He
feeling
want
this
to talk
I'm
about
question.
strippers.
I'm just saying,
Um,
what's the life expectancy, the retirement rate on that?
Well, what do you mean life expectancy? Do you mean the professional life expectancy? Do
Yes,
you mean
yes. What's your like a football player? You can't be 40, 50 years old. Only Tom Brady is the oldest at this
no?
point.
You got to. Well, hold on. Let me look at it. You're gonna have to Google that one. I don't know because
That's got to
everybody's
be
different.
because I'm just saying, if Usher out here giving out fake money, I'm just thinking, what's the retirement rate? What's the retirement rate go? You know what I mean? Is it a number that you reach before you stop doing that? It just has to be something similar for if a artist goes into that club, how much money are they actually supposed to spend when they go into the club? Like, what's their normal fee rate of how much money you're supposed to spend when you in there? Like, these are small little steps that I need to know. Like, I think about that when I go to a baseball game, or how much money, how many athletes and how many people go into a game, and how much does this one athlete make off of this one person buying a hot dog or something. Like, it has to be some type of financial freedom. Even though I talk about these financial freedoms, you know, these preachers have made the mark now of almost a billion. They're billionaires almost. The TD Jakes, the Clefro Dollars now. They're almost at the billionaire mark. And I wish I had my sanctified, glorified woman in here, Miss Michelle, but she's not in here today. And I really want to know is what is your expectance on the mega million churches, the mega churches, and how the preachers are getting paid? What do you think they should be doing with their money at this point in time? What do you think about that, Miss D?
um, I think somebody said it the other day. As many mega churches as we have in different communities, we should be having mortgages paid, light bills paid. You got tithing church members. You got people in trouble in your congregation. How are you really helping the people in your congregation? The people who actually support the church. You know, I think that I think the mega churches a lot of times they do big programs, but I don't think a lot of times they do enough locally. Within the immediate 2 miles of their building. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Um, Now, one church I would say that I've seen, like there's some good examples that I've seen in Houston. There was some churches that kind of do the whole, develop the community around the building. There's a couple that I've seen where the pastor built neighborhoods and built shopping centers, and a YMCA is built and all those kinds of things. But yeah, I think there should be more of that community development programs to actually help the people right around the church. Um, but I definitely think that if the pastor can afford a helicopter, then people who are in trouble should be having their mortgages paid. And not even if they're in trouble, man, they should be having raffles to pay off mortgages for members once a month or whenever, however the money can spread. They should be doing stuff like that to bless their congregation,
What do you
paying
think?
off big bills.
Paying off big bills. What do you think, Marcelo? What about you?
It's a business. They should make whatever they want to make. We do have an issue in our community where you see more churches than you see schools and banks that's ran by us. That is a form of a bank. People go in, they deposit in the spiritual bank of the church. they tithe and give money to the church. Businesses give free services to the church. If you belong to a church, you want to make sure the members, the body of the church, are doing well. So you may offer informative type of classes. Um, I think that the church was a strong institution that has helped us through a lot of different things, you know. But I also think that there's some bad representations of the head of the church, leaders of the church doing things that's not acceptable. And because of, like the belief system, they get a pass in a lot of instances. I'm not going to disrespect the black church because it is a staple of our community. But what I
Mm-hmm.
will say is that we always have to ask, like we do with entertainment, what purpose does it serve? Does it serve the purpose to free us, or does it serve the purpose to ensure that we remain in spiritual, psychological, and even physical? Well, no longer kind of sort of physical, but spiritual and psychological bondage. And that's my
Okay.
take on it.
So your take on those churches is basically that every church should be sustainable, but you say, so what type of bondage do you mean? I mean, they're not bonding with the people in their congregation. It's a
Oh no,
mega
no,
church.
I said bondage, bondage.
Okay. Okay.
And
What about you?
at the See, beliefs are a powerful thing. I wouldn't want to offend anybody because what they believe. The church has saved many people and helped them through a lot of difficult times. But
Mm-hmm.
any institution that's not serving the community that they say they are is not effective. And so you could go into any poor neighborhood in any major city and see slews of churches. And then you could go, I mean, and you in the situations in that neighborhood has not changed. So that's the institution that's not really helping in that instance. And there's many institutions that could be in those neighborhoods that's the same. The point I'm trying to make is there's more bondage. There's many different type of bondage, bondage, bondage that exists, and there's
Okay.
a such thing as spiritual bondage. And so take one of these spiritual leaders or religious leaders who are not acting in accordance to the very the very message that they give.
Oh, really?
What type of confusion do you think that they're sowing in the congregation that's following them? Especially if
It's
they
a lot of
admire.
confusion now.
Well, no, because just like he said, there are some churches that's doing a lot in communities. All churches are not equal. I mean, it takes many different types of people to do things. So what about the churches that's not? What about the churches that's acting, in a way that a leech would, taking from the people, drawing everything out of them when we
Mm.
already know that we can be economically disadvantaged sometimes. Everybody's not economically disadvantaged. I want to keep saying that because there are poor churches and there's rich churches.
Okay.
There's white churches, there's black churches, there's African churches, Asian churches. So even the churches are stratified amongst culture groups. So the whole discussion about the church, especially the black church, whether it's a complex conversation because it's so much going on with that because it's comprised of people. So yes, if you're being led by somebody that's leading you down the wrong path, doing all kinds of stuff, taking your money, blowing up and glowing up, you probably a bit confused. You probably a bit hurt. You know what I'm saying? It could probably be devastating to learn that somebody that you admire, that you trusted to lead you to God, or Yahweh,
Okay.
Buddha. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it could be anybody. Um, it's probably a tough pill to swallow. And the Catholic Church with the pedophilia and hurting the young children. You know, So I mean, it's just not. It's the idea of evil men in positions that you know can negatively impact the communities that they claim they serve.
What is your take on this, Miss Michelle? And welcome, welcome, welcome back. What is your take on these actual churches and the meaning of the churches, on the mega churches? What is your take on them? Period. What is your take on mega churches?
Well, hey guys, I did miss y'all yesterday. Far as my take on mega churches, if you're a mega church, you need to make sure you have a large benevolence fund because half of those people up in there need help. Um, I would definitely say, far as the African mega churches, we all know, we all know how they act. I really can't say because I never came from a mega church. I came from a large church way back in the days, but lately I've been in medium-sized churches. And I would definitely say from my experience, the Caucasian churches, those mega churches, they take care of their people. And, it's sad to say, but they know what it means to take care of people. They do mission trips and all that wonderful stuff. They take care of more people than of their own. I would definitely say when I was living in my car in January, I'm sorry, in the January, February, and March, a friend of mine introduced me to her church, Caucasian. They didn't know me from Adam and Eve. I'm not even a member, and they put me up for a week in a hotel. So my thing is, mega churches. If you have a mega church and like Marcella said, you flying in with an airplane and all that, your members better have that type of money too and have those type of um, material things. Whatever you're doing, you ought to teach it to them also so they can have what you have. You understand what I'm saying? I would definitely say now my pastor would, we're a combination of one mega church, but it's 3 locations. And he teaches us holiness and how to be wealthy and prosperous. Trust me on that. And so it just depends on who the pastor is, how they were brought, and how they was raised. But I will say, far as the Caucasian church, they got it hands down. I have to give it to them. Like I said, I was
You're
very
saying it's a
surprised.
preference. It's a preference. It's like going to a different gas station. One gas station got $2.89. The other one is $2.77, and everybody is going to the $2.77 one. I understand that. So you're saying it's a preference of the churches know how to bring up their people, their own people, but don't some other churches don't. So why don't they all have the same philosophy? Like I'm trying to figure that.
You gotta you gotta realize who's teaching it. Listen, nothing against, you just got to realize who's teaching it. All right. Every pastor teaches differently. So my thing is this: the Caucasian, the Asians, even the Hispanics, hands down, they help one another. But when it comes to the Black church, I I would just say is a small percentage in my opinion,
What
that
type
know
of
how.
sounds is that? What type of sounds is
And
that?
because it's sad to say. Now I will say I had just joined a church when I became homeless for a moment, and I finally told him because we'd be private. I don't want no meows, no sympathy or anything. I knew what I needed to do, and the money that he received that night, he gave to me. He was like, "Here, go get a hotel for a few days." He said, "I want to report on how you doing." And he even asked me, "What are you doing to get out of this?" You see what I'm saying? So he was like, "I'm gonna give you this. You take it. You do what you need to do, but you tell me what you're doing to get out of this." I told him what I've been doing, and so my thing is, it just depends on the person. It really do. It just depends on the person. Either they greedy and selfish, or they're loving and giving. So it all depends on that person's heart and their personality, how they say they are used by God and they
You
allow
mean
God.
it all depends on the congregation, is what you're
No,
saying?
it depends on the pastor. Listen, I give it up to like Ivy Hilliard, hands down, all his members A1 wealthy and stuff. Why? Because that's what he teaches. He teaches them how to prosper. He teaches them how to be wealthy.
So
According to the word.
it's a church that's trying to teach financial literacy, is what you're telling me right now?
All churches should teach financial literacy. It's more to it than just holiness and faith and all that. I, a lot
Oh,
of
really?
promises,
Uh,
a lot of
it,
promises in the Bible is about being wealthy.
but what
Hello,
mega churches are teaching financial literacy?
back in the days, they didn't know how. You see what
I'm
I'm
talking about
saying?
right now.
It's a lot of black churches now. All they do is teach about wealth this, wealth that.
Really?
Yeah, but the thing is, it's the way you teach it. You got to teach it the way that God says in His Word to teach it. And I have to bring the Bible in it because that's the best book to learn how to be wealthy if you implement the scriptures.
Okay.
Because when you quote and act upon God's scriptures, He has to abide by His word.
So is there one quote that every church use that you use in your everyday affairs that one mega church use all the time? Give me a quote. Give me one quote.
My scripture is in Deuteronomy. Oh, wait a minute. This is a good one. Isaiah 48:17. Hold on real quick. Let's see. Where is it at? Isaiah 48:17. Thus said the Lord thy Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel, I am the Lord thy God, which teacheth thee to profit, which leadeth thee by the way that thou shouldest go. That's one that I go off, and I always tell my Father in heaven, teach me how to profit. There's another one in Deuteronomy, where he says about being wealthy. Oh, I had these scriptures down packed. It's on my computer, and I'm not on my desktop computer, but there is a scripture in Deuteronomy, and I'm gonna find it before this night is over with. Um,
All right, we're gonna come back to you. I'm gonna ask Marcella real quick on these mega churches. On how are you in a mega church, and have you benefited from being in a mega church?
No and no. No and no.
Okay.
Um, prosperity starts in the heart and in the spirit, right? And so it was one church that was mentioned where you acknowledge, Michelle, that the congregation seemed to be open to the message that their figurehead is given. And so like attracts like, iron sharpens iron. I would say that that particular person is speaking a message that I'm giving a message that speaks to those people. The one thing that I would respectfully kind of agree and disagree at the same time, I'm on the line with that one, and that is the quality factor of the different churches. Like, since in our
Okay.
society, for the most part, economically speaking, white people are collectively doing a lot better than, say, black people. They have statistics on that. If you look at the whole kaleidoscope, because you can't go and compare LeBron James to Billy Bob. I mean, it's just no comparison. But if you
Okay.
compare LeBron James to, say, the gentleman that owns Amazon, or the gentleman that owns Berkshire Hathaway. I can't remember, Mr. Buffett. You get to see that even though you're very wealthy and rich, the comparison still isn't the same. One person is writing the other person's check. So
Okay.
I think it is necessary to teach financial and fiscal responsibility, because there isn't one religious text that says that being broke and owing people is honorable to God. I think, like, I can't quote the Bible scripture, but I know that in the Muslim religion they don't believe in that, and I know from talking to some people who are of the Christian faith, they don't believe that either. It's almost like a sin. And I've heard, and I think it was Thailand, somebody said that yesterday or something like that you can actually go to jail because it violates their culture to that
What you
degree.
mean? You can actually go to jail for being
I,
broke?
I think D, was it you, D, that said you could go to jail for in Thailand? Man, somebody let me look.
Go to jail for what now?
For owing money, for being in debt.
For being in debt.
Yeah, for being indebted and owing money.
But
No,
you're
that wasn't
saying
me.
these churches have some type of aspect on that too?
Well, what I'm saying is, I'm talking about debt, right? Um, you know that debt has a it has a negative impact on you because you're not as free. You're always beholden to somebody, and so you
Hmm.
become tied to that person. You know, and you can't come from up out of, especially if it's credit card debt. So for mega churches or any church to teach their congregation about finances, how to create legacies within that, because it's legacies in poverty. If you could turn that around, that's a good thing. I don't have any problem with that. I would just say that if somebody, because we know that TD Jakes, he's a superstar as it relates to giving his messages, but he also write books and generate income. So we can't really say that that plane that he has isn't something that he don't have because he's a television star, a book star, he's a producer of movies. It's a lot of other things that he's doing. He just happens to be a very powerful Christian leader. I
Okay.
don't think we would be asking. We don't ask about P. Diddy and his planes, or Beyonce, or Alicia Keys and her husband, or Jay Z about their airplanes, how they get back and forth, because people like that don't take regular planes. And so that's why I said the preacher should make whatever they want. And if the congregation is okay with paying them that, then then let it be what it is. I will say that I will go back into my institutions of our community. If we have a lot of issues, political, economic, if you are not addressing those issues, then you are acting in concert with the person that's creating those issues for us. And then I will say that. I mean, you got some good ones, you got some that's not that great. And I'm just going to leave it at that.
Okay. What about you, Miss D?
I think she
There we go. There we go. Sorry. Okay, ask me the question again, Mr. B.
We're talking about the actual congregations and how these mega churches are benefiting from all of this money that they're making. I mean, what are we doing with this mega churches? What is it actually doing? How is it actually improving our environment as a community?
Well, like I said, you have to see the fruit of what's being poured into the church, right? You have a lot
mhm.
that are doing a lot, and you have a lot that aren't, that are not being fiscally responsible. And the proof is in the fruit. You if the church is feeding homeless people on the weekends, and has programs for after school, and does things with the community, then the proof is in the fruit. But if you have a church that's open on Sunday and Wednesday, and then for the rest of the week it's closed and locked up, and it's not doing anything else, and it's huge, then the proof is in the lack of fruit. So I just,
I like that.
if you are a mega church, you should have fruit in the community around you that shows that, yes, this community that's supporting you, that has poured their money into your church, deserves for you to pour back into the community. And if those churches are not, then it's a shame. And if they are, then good. Continue to do that.
Ooh, I
Okay.
You know,
can't wait
just
to piggyback off of you. I'm gonna shut up.
Okay. Well, I'm just, these mega churches have been built on growing and creating bigger futures for their communities. And as I look at the mega churches, I'm just looking how big and masculine these churches are, and these thrones and these cathedrals, and how they look. They're bigger than football fields at this point, and how much mass money that they're actually putting in, and the musicians that's playing, and praise team on top of choir. I'm like, this has got to be a whole epic theater. You know what I mean? And by them putting on this show, I just want them to put out to the community a lot more than the show that I see every Sunday. I want to see the show is what I want to see, how the community looks and how they feel about the church. Not leaving every time they leave the church, that's the end of their money. They'll never benefit from it again or see the rest of it again. And the only way you can benefit from the money is actually going to the church and seeing what the church looks like month after month or day after day. And if you don't go to church, they're not going to ever hit you up or try to try to actually conform and even talk to you or even see where you at or how you doing or whether you even fell off the face of the planet or went to another church. Their concern is like null and void. So I just want I want to hear an ending to it all, Miss Michelle, on your mega churches. Are we supposed to split these churches up and you have a baby churches? You know what I mean, all around the city and make these community better. I don't know, but you tell me, Miss Michelle.
So before I go into that, two other scriptures that I go off of is Deuteronomy 8 and 18, King James versions. But thou shalt remember the Lord thy God, for it is he that giveth thee power to get wealth, that he may establish his covenant, which he sware unto thy fathers. And then the last one, this is what Marcella was saying about is, you're wealthy on the inside in 3rd John 1 and 2. Beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in health, even as thy soul prospers. So those are two scriptures that talk about prospering, like Marcella said, not just material wise, but within your soul, within your mind. You see what I mean? Within your life. There's more to it than just material. And that's what these churches need to teach the people. Be wealthy in your body, that you may prosper and be good in health, as the scripture has said. Now, the Molly, I agree with you. If you're gonna have all this money in these mega churches, and I think it was Stradivari, let your fruit be shown. There is one, I can say maybe I count on one hand, maybe 5 churches that I know. But one in particular that I love, Bill Winston. All he teaches about is faith. He has a prison ministry. He has a business school. He deals outreach, the hungry, the homeless. You see what I mean? Those are fruits. All the money that the church pours in, that's where it goes. So when you see people building churches and daycares and prison ministries and even educating the prisoners, you see what I mean? Come on now. And they're also educating and having their members to join business schools and stuff like that. That's fruit. When I see that, I'm okay with you. But I do have a problem with the people talking about, oh, why he in a Rolls Royce or helicopter. You question the pastor, but you don't question the R&B people. So why can't they have it? You see what I'm saying? Why can't you don't question the basketball stars and all that stuff? So like Molly said, y'all look at the work that they're doing, and then if you don't see the work of the fruits, then yeah, you may have a right to question where all my money's going to. But but far as dividing the mega churches, no. Now the ones ain't doing nothing, yeah, shut it down because the pastor's getting rich. But if you see the fruits, like the schools, the prison ministries, and you hear testimonies, you see testimonies and all that, then yay, keep on doing what you're doing. Why? Because you're not just helping the people, you're helping the community and you're helping the world. And I know Bill Winston reaches all across the world. They got stuff in Africa and stuff. He's serious about that thing. He teaches about faith. He teaches about wealth. He teaches about holiness. And he teaches you how to be wealthy and prosperous, not just materially, but naturally. So if
Now
your
I know.
favorite, go ahead.
Now I know that. Now I know that you. Now what do you actually do, Miss Michelle? What is your profession, Miss Michelle?
Oh
You
goodness.
have a side business. What's that business?
Oh no, I have a ain't a side business. I'm full time self-employed.
Okay. And
Yeah.
what is that? And what is this business?
Kingdom Administrative, the Kingdoms Group. I do administrative. I have a degree in business administration management, and I also have a travel agency because I did travel for over 10 years for the corporate world. So I decided to go ahead and start making money for myself.
Okay.
So, it's stuff like that. I'm prosperous and wealthy because I give. If people look at the scriptures and giving, God honors giving. I'm prosperous and wealthy because I give and I give back to the community. I give back to people. I'll give you the shirt that I had. One woman, I had just bought me some food. And I went to Taco Bell to get my son something. These kids be picky. And I clear as day saw this woman trying to go into Taco Bell, but it was locked. She had some bags. You see what I'm saying? And I heard as clear as day, give her your food. I was hungry. I was hungry. And you'd be like, well, Michelle, why are you saying that? Regardless of what you do, give back. You see what I'm saying? Just
That,
give back.
that was my whole point of understanding these mega churches, on becoming this mega church, on how much are they really giving back to the community, or how much are they actually just putting on a show. So
You'll see it in the actions, buildings, outreach. You'll hear the testimonies. That's how you know. If you don't see none of that, then there's a problem. And don't say older people ain't giving when you got a big mega church. If you got 5,000 people, just giving $25 is a lot of money. Okay? So you cannot say that the people are not giving because it's a mega church. So if you see the community being reached, all the programs being used, them going internationally and creating wells, homes, and stuff for the people, then yes, that's where the money is going, because the tithes and offerings is supposed to be used for the operations of the church.
and you saying
Okay,
you use your business and your own entire your own ministry in ties to yourself is what I'm saying.
exactly.
And
I don't always, man, please. You know how many people have come to me and said, Miss Black, I don't have all the money, but I need help. Do you know how many times I've cut my prices? Do you know how many times I've given stuff away from free? That's ministry, because God will give it back to me double, even though I needed it for myself, because I know my business is paying my bills. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So even within my business, I give. I give back. I go up and beyond for people. So yeah, when you do that, that's what makes people. That's why a lot of one particular service I provide, that service is based on referrals, because the people that I help, all they do is say, go get in touch with Miss Black. She'll take care of you. Those are the key words I always hear. Miss Black will take care of you. That's what you want people to say about you, even with the mega church. Like the Caucasian church that helped me, you best believe when the Lord bless me big, I'm going to give them back something. You best
Okay.
believe that. Why? Because they helped me when they didn't even have to help me, and I was not even a member, and I'm Black.
See, that's the thing. See, today I actually tried to tie certain people's jobs into a couple of conversations that we had today. Like Marcella, I asked you, you know, how would you put your strategy, since this is what you do, you work with strategies. How would you strategically build and make this America a better America? How could you build and make it a better America? And Michelle, I wanted you to tie together on how you were talking about, the traveling that people were doing with these churches and these outreach programs, on how I would try to tie what you do as your kingdom's travel, how you would be able to tie your travels into other people's communities and building off of them. See, these are two different aspects of conversations that I tried to tie and to build into. So, which leads me to Ms. Damali. What do you actually do that can actually benefit people into this community and world today, Ms. Damali? What about you?
What can I do to benefit people in the community? I think be the best Damali I can be and spread love. um, I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, I do work with a nonprofit organization. We do a lot of work in the community. We do a community garden with the kids in the community. We do mentoring. We had plans to incorporate a lot of on hand or in person things last year, but now we're trying to shift to be able to do things virtually now. But we wanted to do more, yoga programs, stress management programs for kids, because kids get stressed out too. So, just little things like that to help kids manage their energy and their stress. Supporting families and parents, just a lot of different programs. So I would say whatever your passion is, wherever you feel like you can help people, like if there's something that you could do and it just makes you smile and help people do that, then just do that and just have fun doing that and helping people do that. Like I would have never thought that this would be a profession, but I met a woman who actually her profession is teaching people how to start and grow their gardens. All she does is teach garden programs at schools, at workplaces, and people's homes. And she does it full time. It gets paid very well, and she loves it. I would have never thought that anybody would do that as a profession, but she has taken what she loves and has helped people learn how to grow their own food. So you can service people with anything that you love to do.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, as this unpopular opinion comes to a close, I thought I would just tie in, everyone's job, that there's something that they're good at and something that they are experts as. I'm an expert as a musician, artist, and teacher. I love to do drawings and I love to do, great music with kids and give them talents that most talented people would not choose to do, but make them talented and see if I can get them to shine, build their personalities, and see how they can grow whatever age, starting from 4 all the way through college. So at this point in time, I would like to say my name is Mr. B, and this is the unpopular opinion. And I will go ahead and close the show off by saying, what is your profession again? And give me a little bit about your businesses once again, and we can go ahead and start with Miss Marcello on this one again.
I knew he was. Okay. Because he's been asking this question throughout, right? All right. So you got to be the change you want to see in the world. And I've said on a couple of our episodes that, yeah, you could drink the ocean, but you want to do it one cup at a time. And you may need help with it. So bring your buddies along. What I do is I shift souls, I change lives, I change minds. And I do that through strategy, through science, and so on and so forth, many other ways. My profession is engineering. My passion is making a difference in the world. And I do that by teaming up with other people that are doing good works. Like Dee said, Damali said, teaming up with nonprofits, helping them develop a strategy for success. And if they're solving a problem in society and in the world, and specifically underrepresented communities, then those are the type of people that I love partnering with and I often seek to partner with. Because if you're not solving a problem, you're creating one, in my opinion. So that's how I tie everything that I do into my work. So I'm the owner of Rubik LLC, where we help people, business, for-profit businesses, nonprofit businesses, develop strategies that are bankable. And that bank could be emotional community, but most people like it to be money. So that's what we focus on.
All right, Miss D, Mr. Molly, and you.
All right. Well, my profession for many years was supply chain management in oil and gas. I'm now retired from that as of 2020. I was laid off and I don't plan on returning. They gave me the option. I said, no, thank you. I think I'm going to go ahead and do something new. So right now, I'm just, I'm learning who I am and what I really want to do moving forward. I got a good clue on that. In the meantime, I'm documenting my journey with Damali on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. You can follow my journey. It's just about me learning how to make money in real estate, my weight loss journey, my mental health journey, stress management with 4 kids and trying to figure out yourself at the same time, and figuring out a new way to make money after you've been making 6 figures for many years, and now to figuring out how to do that without corporate America. So you can see that on Journey with Damali again. And also, I work with a nonprofit organization in Houston, Texas. I'm very passionate about giving back to my community. It's Our African Family. We serve the Fifth Ward community in Houston. You can check us out at ourafricanfamily.org. That's Our African Family with 8K and just check us out and support.
All right, and last but not least, Miss Michelle.
So I hmm I specialize in big projects like planning seminars, meetings, conferences, and to piggyback off of what you were saying, Strat, that's how I help businesses. That's how I help churches. That's how I help the community. I'm Our company, Kingdoms Travel, has already been the official travel agency for one multi-million dollar company that will be launching soon and going public. And the product that they'll be providing will be saving lives. And so I implement my administrative skills with my travel skills to make it happen to help that company travel all over the world, set up conferences, set up VIP meetings. I'm not just your regular family vacation, all that wonderful stuff. I interact a lot of business and community projects that are in need of going different places, but they need to have a structure, a plan. And so that's how I give back within my administrative business, Kingdom Administrative Services, and Kingdom Travels. And that's another way I help the churches and nonprofit organizations too. You got the pastors that travel all over the world. They have teams and groups that travel all over the world. And you have to literally know strategically how to plan that and know the international laws and policies and procedures when you have other people from other countries coming in their country trying to make some changes. You see what I'm saying? Or provide change. So that's what my company, the Kingdoms Group, specialize in being a church, being saved for over, well, I'm 45 now. So I've been saved all my life. I've been in church all my life, so I know how that works. Working in corporate for over 20 years and doing their corporate travel, traveling all over the world. So that's how I initialize my skills, my company, to give back to the community, to give back to anybody that's in need overall. We just don't do vacations, honeymoons, destination, or weddings. We do more than that,
Mhm.
just to get that out. So I'm Michelle Black with the Kingdoms Group, Kingdom Administrative Services, and Kingdom Travels. And that is what I do for the people.
All right, and this is the unpopular opinion. Today we had a lot of opinions about a little bit about Kid Cudi and how he wore his dress on SNL, and we also had a little bit of talk, just a little bit about how preachers' life were in the mega churches. So, we talked a little bit about Usher too, which was a little bit kind of quote unquote. I don't know about him and his passing out his dollars that he's giving out to the clubs and everything. So at this point in time, I would like to say I bid you adieu, and we will definitely do another conversation again. So once again, have a nice night with our unpopular opinions.
Everybody.